Welcome to another edition of We Open Pandora's Box. So they sawed today. Today's Monday evening. They sawed today, and it didn't do. I was watching this morning, which is the first time I got to watch it with somebody else running it, and it is moving over like it's supposed to, but it ain't enough. And then I had this thumb on this splitter that was knocking stuff over the wrong way, so everything was just not yinging and yanging together. Now, Rickenball did say he got to saw this evening. He hadn't sawed in a few weeks. And he did say that things is coming out straighter. So the splitters are holding things straighter. We've come into a problem. This first splitter comes up right after the logs pass that eye. Problem with that is that if he's feeding them butt to butt, when this splitter comes up, you see how it's got this knife edge? Well, it kicks the cant over a couple inches and it's screwing up boards if you feed it butt to butt. So we got to figure out how to separate these cant. You know, it's just when everything's running this consistent, smooth, and not smooth, this consistently back to back, it is just anytime you make a little nudge, it affects 4 other things. So what I'm gonna do is the drive comes from down there somewhere on this knurled row section through the Resaw. I guess these last 2 sprockets, I'm gonna drop a tooth or 2 on both of them, and then get them last 2 rolls spinning a little faster on that section. So that helps space them apart when they get towards the end of the cut. These rolls will start running them a little faster. Me and Rodney's gonna play with this speed in the morning. Now that all is that issue. Now here's the next step I made this evening, and I didn't record it, but here's the next step I made this evening. Some of you have been on me about making spiral rows. So here we go. I put the spirals on the rows, and this roll spins forward, so as the board hits it, it's gonna try to ride out like a thread. I think that's gonna help. I'm trying to get everything fixed below so I don't have to go above. When I have to go above to fix this thing, then we got a framework, then it's, oh man, I hate to do that, but I will if I can't get it down here. The other thing was, is I had this welded on this splitter, this top plate, and it was coming up, and that was, you know, it pops up like this, and as it was popping up, when it first hit the board, it'd scoot the bottom out, but then would come up, so say your board's leaning in, first it scoots the bottom out, but then it comes up and just knocks the top over, and it's throwing them over the wrong way. So we added this piece on the bottom, so as it comes up, it's gonna keep getting wider. So I think that's gonna do us some good. And then these spiral rows, we're gonna do us some good. And then we're just gonna run it tomorrow and see what it does. And then we're gonna have to, till I get this situation fixed, we can't quite feed them through their butt to butt, unless speeding these rows up a little faster will get the job done. But it's hard for these smooth rows to pull a cant away from these knurled rows. But if it's only the last little bit, it might be able to pull it off. We'll just have to see. I think we may get there, but we'll have to see. I'm gonna go ahead and get my teeth on these sprockets. I bet they're a 15 tooth, but I have to get my teeth, or it might be 17. But one or the other, I'll get my teeth and I'll get that locked in the vault in case I have. That's Q1 bushing, by the way. So in case I have to get them coming, because I'm not backing off once we start down this road, because this road, to get them weighing up for them guys down there would make this whole rig run so much smoother, and stuff wouldn't hang up on the rolls because your boards would be bowed like this. See, when you board your board, you put your board weighing down. When you put it weighing down, it's like an upside down U. That's just the way wood splits off from, that's the way all boards are. I didn't invent the rules, I just live by them. But if you can get them weighing up, then it's like a belly like this, if you can get them weighing up. So then when they're like this, they hit and they transfer good. If their tails are down, then they drag on rollers and everything else. So it really does some good if we can get these things weighing up. So that's what we're gonna try now. We'll find out. Or what's that thing about the F around and find out? Well, we're finding out. Well, I didn't cover making this piece I made, but my mentally trash. We're gonna fuck around and find out. All right, at this point, now Rick and Ball's thin because his air shut off up there. He saw him thin because the press rolls ain't pressing. He's got unimpressive press rolls. But that's a little taste of we might be getting somewhere. This, I was afraid I was going to have to do this. Thanks to, but I want to say this. Everybody that put in your input on this, thank you so much. I'll tell you how this project went, other than stressful as crap. But this project, it was like the letdown deck. Big Daddy put the letdown deck in years ago when he put the sawmill in. My dad put the sawmill in with the guys, and back in 90, I think things started going in 1994. My boys calls it the 1900s. 1994. Yeah, like we brought them in horse and wagons. Yep. So anyways, we put this in 94. In 96, I think the last of it went in, maybe 95, 6, somewhere like that. And when a letdown deck, which lets the boards down in the lumber, look at them coming off now. Now, if they're too short and they don't touch them hangy doodads, it don't do it. Like that one screwed up because my hangy doodads are too far in, and they're not greased, so they're putting too much resistance up. Because I just wanted to try it and make sure I don't have to cut this thing off the torch and start all over. But anyways, way back when, so this ain't working perfectly, but like it's going to work. Trust me, it's going to work now. But Big Daddy put that letdown deck in, and he said, I was so frustrated. He said, I went down there and started talking to everybody, and we all got together and started talking. And he said, everybody had something to put into it. This guy wanted this guy wanted that. He said, it was so stressful. And he said, in the end, it took everybody's idea to make it work. And I feel the same way with this. And thanks to you all, the things you all had me fix, like welding the slide on the roller. We put that first splitter back in. I forgot, one of the guys at the mill suggested that. And putting the wing on the splitter to help shove things over farther. And the spirals on the row, I think I had a few of you tell me put the spirals on the row. One guy was a farmer and said you need a disc there. So, well, we ended up putting the disc on there just like the farmer told us. And what else? Dadgone, I can't believe I forgot his name. I'm so sorry. I think it was John Deere or Deere. the guy that made the video, you know who you are. The guy that made the video, I commented on your video that actually made the video explaining a chain situation to me. It's John Deere something, I thought. Or farm, I can't remember now. But anyways, every one of you's idea went into this. And the guy with the chains, a few of you had chain hanging downs. And this, I kind of went with this because the edger had a proven thing that was sort of how I wanted to go with this on the edger. You can see how they're coming up. I want them to be set to where when you're sawing 4/4 and 5/4, it don't even touch them hangy doodads. So the only time it'll actually touch them is when you got a big board coming out that's heavier in thickness, like a 6/4 or bigger, and pallet, you know, flitches. When you're sawing flitches, I want them to jump up, you know, when you're sawing flitches and that nature. But you actually got some weight pushing on them then instead of a flimsy 4/4 board, which 80-something% of what we saw is going to be 4/4 and 5/4. 80 to 90% of what we saw is going to be 4/4 and 5/4. So if I make it for that, if I make it specially, I'm moving the pieces over now. If I make it specially a 5/4, that's taking in Pareto principle mentality. That's taking in the majority of what we do with the least amount of effort. So if I take that in, then we should be good. And then it'll just, we're sawing thicker stuff. It'll just have to raise it up. But thanks to you all and your having me get that roll with the farmer that suggested the disc blade and stuff like that. And then Calvin down there at Wagner's and everything, you know, it took everybody's ideas to finally come together to make it work. And I knew, well, I shouldn't say I knew. I had a hunch. That's called hindsight bias. When something goes one way and then you decide that you knew the whole time and you didn't, you know, it's called hindsight bias. But I was convinced, I'll put it that way, I was convinced I was finally going to have to hang some gaudy thing from the top to finally hold the board. And I was terrified of it because if you go to pushing boards around or making something that manipulates the boards while they're still in the bandsaw, you got issues big time. And that's what Rickenball's point was. He said, you're going to be going long and I'm going to be cutting this thing out with a torch. He said, better not be screwing my bandsaws, which, you know, 100% legitimate concern, you know. And so I had that going in my head the whole time, you know, terrified that, oh, man, this is going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess, but I know I got to go. I got to make it leap. Well, I'd worked it out in my head to be way worse than it was. And this is not a good angle I got showing here. But I'll get a different angle when we get with sawing. This is actually just a trial run, and it wasn't even finished yet. I guess still got to put a grease fittings and stuff like that in it and lube it up and strengthen it up. I just welded it get together good enough. I knew it wasn't going to fall apart. We fired it up and ran it to see if I'm way off in left field or what. But you can see how they're kind of, when the whiteboards come through, you can see how they're kind of, I ain't got to set up on my screen where I can see right now while I'm talking, but watch how it flickers the doodads. It ain't much, you know. It don't move them much, but they're not greased right now. They'll probably move more later, but they're dry right now. And they don't want to move. But the idea is it don't take much effort to move them, but yet they hang down there pretty good, so they weigh enough to hold the board up for just a split second. While the splitter and the disc on the roll, the gusset shaped cone on the row, and then to the spirals on the row, you know, it gives everything a second, just a split second's all it needs is to do its job. And once it gets its job, then it's overtook gravity, and then whoosh, sliding right down she does. Now I didn't bring them all the way down because I didn't want that much hanging metal on that thing. So a small 6-inch board is not going to work. I might hang a chain, like old boy said, down later on, but the main beef and the heaviness is caught and doing what it's supposed to do.
Let's get it started out. Let's take it for a tour. Just an FYI, I think Larry likes boys. So if anybody, if any young man out there is looking for a mate, look up Larry. I'll pass your number on to him. Okay, so here we are. I love you, Larry. Oh, okay, so anyways, all the welding's done.
and it is finally beefed up the way I want it. I mean, it looks like crap, needs cleaned up and painted. I might clean up and paint it. I care that much about it now. Oh, I forgot to grind that corner off. We can do the last little bit together. All right, so and I put grease fittings in it and got it all greased up. It slicker than snot on a doorknob. Look at that. Yeah. And on the side it takes the thumping. For a backup, I put welded this big old cylinder collar on there. So when they push over real hard or something, gets caught or something, it's pushing against a leg to get some strength. And then all this area here, I just strengthen, wrap, strengthen, gusseted, strengthen, fish plated, strengthen, you know, and all that scrap and stuff like that. So let's do the last little bit together. We get to put the finishing touches on it as a team. That's how we roll out here at the old Timber Harvest, just like a team. You hear that, Larry? We're a team, Larry. Larry's never part of the team. He's always. Larry thinks he is a one-man show. Whatever, Larry. Nobody. I don't recall anybody asking me, Larry. And he feeds me grief. Boy, come to tater. Let's pick that up with this because that's going to be hot. Too hot for a guy with his bare handy dandies. Come here, you. Come here, mister. Get in my jaws, man. My jaws, man. My jaws. And I'm so excited. Rick and Ball, he giving me Hades today. He just giving me hell. And he's like, I'm gonna have to cut that off the torch next week when you're gone logging or something. Then we fired up and started running, and he's sitting there shaking his head. He said, what's that guy down there gonna do now? I said, well, he can tell you when to raise the gate up and down. Whatever, Larry. He's ignoring me. Larry's in his own little world. That's the only bad thing about it. If any young men out there is interested, he is pretty independent. Nah, breaker, broker. Come on in there, leave me a little comment, a little bit of thumbs up there. Kaboot. Now let me come on here. I wanted to share this. How do I start into this? Okay, so a while back, I had a buddy I went to school with. Thought the world of him when we was kids. Really meant a lot to me. His family was awesome. All the people, his two families really, and they was both just awesome families. And like the way we grew up in a community, you had a house that everybody hung out at. You had a family that was had so much magnetism in a family that it drawed everybody to their place, and that's where we all hung out. Well, one of these families married into another family. And so via the means of one of my best friends growing up, Wes, and he ended up marrying a girl from this other family, which was, I'm going to leave their family names out of this, but you know who you are, and anybody local, say something to them because I don't know if they'll see this or not. But Wes and Britters got married, Wes and Brittany. And they was the couple, they was on and off. It was a lot of fun when we was kids. I mean, they would get into it. Oh my God. And they still get into it. I talked to them about it. But they raised a wonderful family, got 3 awesome boys. I mean, awesome boys. And they are just still awesome. And in it, I could just see another generation going to end up at Wes's house before this is all over with. And Jesse and all of them, they attract everybody because of the magnetism they got. And I have been working, I have been busy doing everything, kind of lost touch with them all, kind of lost touch with my childhood, you know, that type of thing. But the other day, Wes gets a hold of me and says, we need to cut a few trees out of the yard here at his mother-in-law's mother. So it'd be, I don't know how to say all that stuff, at Britter's grandma's house. And they live on the farm. They live on the farm there and stuff. Wes and Britters does, And and Jesse was working that day, or Jesse would have been there too. But and I didn't get to cover. I didn't cover it. I didn't want to throw a camera in their face. I just wanted to reminisce about childhood. We ended up talking forever. We stood in the kitchen with Britters and Jess and Wes and then the kids, all the boys, and shot the bull and stuff about the old days. It was great. I had a blast cutting the trees for them. Well, anyways, Britters and Jesse's mom, she's a sweetheart. She wrote me a little thank you letter, and I want to read it to everybody just because, and I don't care about, this ain't for YouTube or nothing, it's just because I wanted to share the people I care about. Just so if y'all want to listen to, so it said, great receiver, thank you so much, all the blah, yada, yada. It said, Wade, thank you so very much for cutting down the trees at my mother's house. Some of them were getting very worrisome. Brittany and Wes really enjoyed seeing you, Dee Dee. From Dee Dee. So, Dee Dee, I want to say thanks. Got the letter. Thank you so much. I was happy to get the help out in any way, and I was happy to get to help you all out, because you all have done so, and Wes and Britters and Jesse and you guys, you all don't even know how much you meant to me as a young man growing up. And I just wanted to, and I don't know, it's coming out cheesy and wrong and stuff, I know, but I love you guys. If y'all ever need anything again, holler. I'd be there with bells on. But thanks everybody for watching. Everybody have a good day. Over and outskis.